Yo, people, come back to the Fix It Boy and I here with Ari, and we have a special guest joining us via satellite.
There you go.
Via satellite. Very special guest, Mr. Murray Elias. Am I saying the name correctly?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
We have sense.
Sometimes. Thank you for joining us because you've created quite a stir with some comments that you recently made about dancehall, Afro beats, and several things concerning the music business. But before we get to those comments, I really want you to tell the people about your history within the music and what you've done over the years. Mm-hmm. Like a quick synopsis.
That's a big one because I've been doing this. Last year was my 50th anniversary in reggae music. Mm-hmm. I've been doing this since 1973 when I first saw The Harder They Come and first did my first radio show on college radio in 1973 at a station called WHRW in New York, upstate New York State, in a city called Binghamton. And I've been on this reggae, I don't know the right word, this reggae ride for 50 years.
Wow.
And when I first started, it wasn't dance hall. There was no real dance hall. It was called reggae. Mm-hmm. And it was Bob Marley, and it was Burning Spear, and it was Toots, and it was Culture, and it was, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
And, these are all icons. And back then, when Island Records was pushing Bob Marley, and this is truth, Black America did not care about reggae. Okay. Black America did not care about Bob Marley.
Wow.
Okay. Chris Blackwell and Island Records found their audience with white kids like me when I was actually a kid. Okay. And they were pushing it to the rock audience.
Okay. Wait, reggae music. They were pushing reggae music to the rock audience.
Right. Because black radio had no interest in reggae music.
Can I ask you, you know why? Why was it?
Why was it more accepted within reggae than as opposed to the black African American audience?
Mm-hmm.
Because the sound of black music then was kind of a sophisticated R&B sound.
Okay.
All right. And this is in the early 70s, late 60s. When,
the Vietnam War, I know it have something to do with the Vietnam War and, the fighting.
Well, that is in part why people like me embrace Bob Marley.
Yeah, okay.
And people like, because I was a very political kid.
Yes.
I was involved in the anti-war movement. I was involved in the civil rights movement. Mm-hmm. And reggae spoke to that part of it.
Yeah.
Okay. The activism, political awareness, justice, right and wrong, and I got it, and my friends got it. And I worked at Island Records in 1978, 1979, 1980. I worked at Island Records for about 4 years.
Wow.
When Bob was still alive.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
What was your position there?
Right. And I did marketing and promotion, but I was not involved in the Bob Marley project.
Okay.
That's a job.
Okay. But I was in the building.
Okay.
Okay. And I used to hear what people said what my coworkers who were hands-on with Bob Marley, said when they came out of those promotion and marketing meetings. And when they went to black radio with Bob, or with Bob's music, and asked black radio, can you play this? Can you program this? Mm-hmm. And they had the doors shut in their face. And some of the lines that I used to hear radio promo people say that were said to them when they came to them with Bob's music or with reggae music in general was, we don't play that jungle music.
Wow.
Okay. And, take that music back on the banana boat. Okay. Okay.
These are direct quotes.
These are quotes that were given to me, that were given to the radio promo people.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. All right. There was no interest. It was very in 1970, 71, black R&B was kind of very sophisticated music. It was coming around, to a new style. And this sounded very primitive to black radio programs.
Wow.
And for the next, I would say from 1970, 71, when Island really started to push Bob Marley, to the advent of modern day dance hall, which I would peg to the introduction of the slang tang rhythm in 1985.
Wow. Yeah.
Black America had no interest in reggae music. And Bob Marley. It was dance hall, slang tang, 1985, modern dance hall that opened the door for interest from the urban market.
Which is the black market. Yeah.
But that also, 1985 was the very early days of hip hop.
Yes.
Okay. Which was a big departure from the current sound of R&B. It was primitive. Okay. It was raw. And after Bob died, who was the biggest artist in Jamaica?
Like maybe Peter
Probably
Tosh.
Peter Tosh.
No?
Yellow Man.
Yes, the first king of dancehall.
Okay.
All of Jamaica.
Yeah.
Yellow Man was not just in Jamaica, he was an international sensation.
Yeah.
And here was rap music, which is about rapping. And here was Yellow Man, who was this international sensation, who was a Jamaican rapper.
Or DJ.
Right? So suddenly there was, and now you also have the slang tang rhythm, which is a drum machine, computer-driven rhythm. That's a change from the old drum and bass, one drop style of reggae music.
Yeah.
So everything was kind of converging. Okay. And I was a DJ in the clubs at that time. I was doing remix and production work at that time. And I was working at hip-hop labels at that time. And in 1986, I came up with the concept to take the dance hall. And I had been playing reggae in college radio, and I've been playing reggae in the clubs for many years. But I was like kind of a lone, I was an outlier. Okay. I was the DJ in Manhattan that was playing reggae records, and people would go, "Hey, what's that record? That's kind of cool." And I took those records that worked in the clubs for me, and I proposed something to my boss, who ran a label called Sleeping Bag Records, which was the original home of EPMD and Nice and Smooth and Mantronics. It was a hip-hop dance music club-oriented label. And I said, "Listen, I'm playing all these dance hall records in my club these days. Yellow Man, Slang Tang, Admiral Bailey, blah, blah, blah. And they work. And this is a hip-hop label. And I see where, for the first time in my career, but in my run with reggae music, where there's going to be a convergence of dance hall, this new style of reggae music, of Jamaican music, and hip-hop, this new style of Black American music, where these two styles are going to converge. Okay. And I was the first person to work at a record label to kind of market Jamaican music, not as reggae music, but as dance hall music, to set it apart
from
reggae music, and market it to a different segment of the Black American audience, the urban audience, which was this emerging hip hop, younger.
So you were important in letting people know the separation and the distinction, really, the clear distinction between reggae and dancehall.
Dancehall.
Yeah.
And exactly. And dancehall was club music.
Yeah.
The way hip hop was club. It was party music.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the essential thing. Dancehall, in that emergence in 1985, became party music. Okay. Whether it was the party in Jamaica or the party in New York. Okay. All right. And dancehall music remained party music from 1985 to approximately 2010.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I could keep going into my long career, and I could chew up 2 hours of your time.
Trust me, Murray. Just reading your resume would take about 2 hours of our time, which we don't really have. But just know, people, that it is extensive. All right. So you just get basically a synopsis of what this man has done.
So I guess and what it does is
just a little piece.
And what it does to me, and I guess for our audience, is to let them know that you absolutely know what you're talking about. You're not somebody that is removed from the culture. You've been a part of it, and you've played a part in promoting the culture in and of itself.
Several ways.
Yeah.
Thank you for recognizing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've lived this life for 50 years.
Yeah. And I mean, it's fair. I mean, I'm gonna talk. What I know some people are gonna say is like, and I'm sure you've seen it, like this white man talking about music and dancehall music and black music and whatever. And I mean, in all honesty, what I've gathered is that there are a lot of white people that are in support and that use promote the culture more than black people. And I guess that's a case where, it boils down to the racial structure where the white man have more power, whatever. But at least there is some part of you that is not only there for the business, but the love of the music. And you talk about your introduction to Bob, and I know that, my people especially love the radical movement of the war, and they were like hippie and dippy, and I know that.
Cultural reggae.
Yeah.
Cultural reggae.
Yeah.
That was the first attraction, but go ahead.
And what I see, you said something very important. I mean, I wish I could expound on a little, is that you said that the black urban radios were against reggae. And to me, like somebody who, just thinking like, what? Black reggae, like people not supporting reggae, like I would probably understand them not supporting dancehall, but reggae, and especially black people, especially in America, not supporting reggae, that's true for real?
So let me give you 2 examples. I'll try to be brief. I saw Bob Marley perform live 10 times. Okay. I met Bob Marley a couple of times. If I move this camera around, I'll show you his autographed picture on my wall.
Wow.
Okay. All right. But I saw Bob Marley perform 4 nights in a row at the Apollo Theater. Okay. The year before, he sold out Madison Square Garden. Okay. Which seats 20,000 people.
Wow.
Why would you then the next year play the Apollo Theater, which only seats about 3,000 people?
Because of the audience.
Because if Muhammad can't go to the mountain, what's the phrase? If you can't go to the mountain, if the mountain doesn't come to you, you go to the mountain.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, right. So he wanted to reach a black American audience.
Yes.
Okay, and where is it? At the Apollo Theater.
I know that.
I was there 4 nights in a row. Okay. Front row seats every night, just to brag. Okay. All right. And the picture on my wall is a picture I took that night. But anyway, the audience was primarily white kids like me from downtown, punk rockers who were now embracing reggae in 1979. All of a sudden, punk rock and reggae had a union because of England. And bands like The Clash. Okay, so there was a lot of white kids and Jamaicans.
Okay.
There were no black Americans in the audience.
Oh, wow.
Okay, 2 years later, Bob's last tour, 1980 rather, he played Madison Square Garden. He opened up for the Commodores, Lionel Richie and the Commodores. Bob Marley sold out the Garden 2 years earlier. Why do you need to open up for the Commodores?
Because you're trying to reach a black audience.
To reach that audience.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what Island and they made they were going to do a tour across the country with the Commodores.
Okay.
Okay. So that's just an example of the efforts that were made by Island and by Bob himself and Don Taylor to reach the black American audience that just was not interested.
Wow.
Okay, and part of that was in exchange for doing this tour. It was in association with black radio stations in every city because of the Commodores. That was going to get Bob onto the radio. And the show that I saw was on Friday, I think it was September 17th. Next day, he collapsed in Central Park. That night, he did the show at Madison Square Garden. 2 nights later, he did the show in Pittsburgh, and that was it for Bob. That's when he was too sick to carry on.
Wow.
Okay. So what may have happened to reach Black America at that point never got to play out.
Okay.
Okay, because Bob, had cancer and got too sick to carry on.
Yeah.
Okay. So when he died, everybody was looking to see who the next Bob Marley was going to be. And they were looking, for example, Peter Tosh, Bunny Wailer, Black Uhuru.
Yes.
Okay. Was probably where, and that I actually, at Island Records, just to give you another small piece of my resume, I was involved in the marketing and promotion of the first Black Uhuru albums when I was at Island Records. I wasn't involved with the Bob Marley project, but I was involved with Black Uhuru.
Yeah.
And that could have been it. But instead, in Jamaica, as big as Black Uhuru was, the biggest thing in Jamaica became Yellow Man. You know? And that's when dance hall started to take hold in Jamaica. You know, there were artists before like U-Roy and Big Youth and, I-Roy and, but the concept of dance hall as a movement, dance hall as a departure from old style reggae happened with beginning with Yellow Man, and the thing that really set it off like a rocket was Slang Tang. And I recognize that as a record label person.
No more. I just want to fast forward now to current times. Talk about your involvement with Sean Paul very quickly.
Okay. I was Sean Paul's A&R for 10 years.
Okay.
From stage 1 all the way to Trinity and Imperial Blaze. Okay. I worked at VP Records. And even though some people have been posting comments with everything going on now that I'm some kind of a shill for VP Records, and I'm actually out there like,
corporate shill.
Right, that I'm some kind of corporate shill out there trying to divide the reggae market, and I'm doing their evil bidding. I do not work for VP. I will never go back to VP Records. Wow. I have no association anymore with VP Records. But the 10 years I was there, I worked with Sean Paul. Okay. And along with Jeremy Harding, who you know well.
Yes.
He was the manager. I was the A&R.
Okay.
And Sean was the amazing talent. Okay. And the one thing I know about Sean is he was blessed, not just with talent and vision, but he was blessed to attract. And this goes to your point, Ari, probably the best and brightest people in the reggae music business that knows reggae music and knew the record business. Yeah. Knew the real
business.
Record business.
Yeah.
For many years, I would tell people would ask me, "Hey, Murray, what do you do?" And I say, I work in the reggae music business. And then they would say, "Oh, you're in the music business." And I go, no.
That's very different.
the reggae business and the music business are two very different things.
Oh.
But when I worked with Sean Paul and things started to happen on that level, and people said, "Well, Murray, what do you do for a living?" And I go, "Well, I work in the reggae music business." And then they would say, "Oh, you mean you're in the music business?" I go, yeah, now I am. And
I get it. No.
I was the person that brought Sean Paul to Craig Hallman and Atlantic Records.
Okay.
I engineered the deal.
Okay.
Sean and Jeremy wanted to get on a major label really bad. And I was the one who got Craig Hallman to see the vision of Sean Paul. And also to make a commitment that he was committed to dance hall music. Like the mistake that all the major labels made whenever they signed reggae artists back in the day, Jamaican dance hall artists in particular, was starting with Shaba and starting with Supercat, is that the urban departments did not understand reggae and dancehall.
They still don't.
It's a different culture. It's a different sound. It's different.
They still don't.
And that's why you would say like Shabba would voice on pseudo R&B type beats.
Right.
Yeah.
They do R&B remixes and the records would do okay.
Yeah.
But then they were just kind of, there was a big difference between the Johnny Gill remixes and House Call and Wicked in Bed. To this day, which one are you going to choose to listen to?
Wicked in Bed.
For Masha works, have to listen to Wicked in Bed, Yeah.
Exactly. So, and I, through all this experience over the years, understood that dancehall can work if you give it a chance.
Yeah.
And you don't water it down. And you don't turn it into hip hop.
Yeah.
Now, right before Sean got signed, 2 big reggae events happened. Okay. The first was Beenie Man getting signed to Virgin.
Okay.
And that was an example of a record label saying, we don't understand this. Let's turn this into hip hop and R&B. And they made that song with Janet Jackson. They had the Neptunes produce 2 or 3 songs with Beenie Man. And the record, Beenie Man's one of the greatest dancehall artists of all time. He stands at the top of that pyramid.
Yeah.
Okay. But that project was destroyed by a major label. Okay. Because they didn't know the music and they didn't know the culture. And they thought that the only way that our Jamaican artists could make it big in America was transforming them into R&B and hip hop artists.
Yeah.
Okay. And when I brought the deal to Craig at Atlantic, I got a commitment from him that he would put out the record that we delivered. Okay. It wasn't going to be a record that he remixed or put new tracks on with other artists, that he's committed to breaking dancehall in America. Dancehall. Yeah. Okay. Not just the artist, but the sound, genre, the culture. Okay. And to that end, what Jeremy and I did was make sure that Atlantic stayed out of the way. Okay. And Jeremy, you don't know me, but we are 2 of the most headstrong, stubborn,
I can say that without a doubt about Jeremy. Yeah, I can say that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jeremy and I are kind of cut from the same cloth. So when we had our mind made up that this is the way it's going to be, nobody at Atlantic was going to get in our way and give us their word on one day and then take it back the next day. Yeah. You said dancehall, we're going to make sure that we put out the records that we want to put out.
That usually isn't the case in America. Like, them usually say, yeah, and then them do their own thing. So how you...
Exactly.
Yeah. So how you able to... How were you guys able to let them stick to their word?
Nara, Jeremy.
Yes.
You both know Jeremy.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Are you going to get in here?
Enough said.
Yeah.
Enough said.
You don't know me.
The phrase fuck off was probably used more than once.
To the highest levels of people at Atlantic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Many times. Many times. Or you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
We brought this to you. Get out of the fucking way.
Yeah.
That was basically the mantra. Okay.
And to have that trust.
Is that aside from Sean just being this incredible talent,
him have good people out there,
and an incredible songwriter with a unique voice and a look, and also what we realized about Sean was that up until this point, dancehall was pretty much it was about the records. What we realized about Sean in the MTV BET age era Sean was made for videos. Okay. You know, when I first met Sean and then I met Jeremy next, although they both claim I met them years before. Jeremy claims I came by his studio one day, like 5 years before I really met him with Sean Paul. And Sean says by the way, two of the artists that I work with before Sean Paul, I used to work at Profile Records. Profile Records is a hip hop label.
Okay.
That discovered Run DMC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And I worked at Profile 1988 to 1992. The biggest record Profile had in that era besides Run DMC, Rob Bass. It Takes Two.
Yeah, that's what I know.
Okay. One of the biggest hip hop records, one of the biggest party records of all time. You know, you put that record on in the party, done.
Boom.
Is that two to make it out of sight?
All right, excuse Ari while she sings that for a second. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry about that, Murray. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You know what? Works for me. And I worked with two artists. I signed two artists to Profile Records. Barrington Levy and Cuddy Ranks.
Okay.
Cuddy Ranks is still one of my closest friends to this day.
Okay.
Okay.
When did you work with Supercat?
Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah.
I never worked with Supercat. I don't know how that got into the mix.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay. I know Supercat. I've licensed some Supercat records on some compilations I've done over the years, but I never worked directly with Supercat. I wish I had. It's one of my favorite artists of all time. But no, I never worked with Supercat.
Okay, Garu could clear that up. All right,
but I worked with Barrington Levy and I worked with Cuddy Ranks.
Okay. So
and I established their careers in the hip hop market.
Because Broadway is like, you bring, I'm broad, and
I put that out as a single.
Yeah, okay.
I put that, and that's what gave Barrington Levy a whole, I wouldn't say new career, a new audience.
Yes.
A new audience.
Yeah.
Okay. A new fan base. And Cuddy Ranks, I put out The Stopper. I put out Who Say Me Done.
Who said me done? Who said me done, Mari? Who said me done?
Wait, come on.
You said so what?
this is why people kill you for your comments.
Okay. Yeah.
We need to give you some patois lessons, Mari. Come on.
Okay, I'll sign up.
While you give us some music business lessons, yeah.
Okay.
Exchange.
Fair trade.
Fair trade.
Okay. So, I just bring that up because there was a lot that went on before Sean Paul.
Yes.
And like I said, I don't want to eat up all the time, but a lot of the work that I did at all these hip hop labels, I worked at Sleeping Bag, I worked at Profile, I worked at Priority, I worked at Tommy Boy, okay, which back in the 80s and early 90s were
huge.
The major labels of hip hop. They weren't major labels, they were indie labels, okay, but they were the labels that made hip hop.
I know Tommy. Okay. I know Tommy Boy Records. I've heard it.
FIFA, that was Naughty by Nature. You know, that was De La Soul. Profile was, like I said, Run DMC, Rob Bass, Special Ed. What was the other one? Priority was Ice Cube, NWA. You know, so I worked at all the big independent hip hop labels.
So you
building
definitely
the foundation that gave Sean the launching pad to be Sean Paul at VP Records and then Atlantic Records. So, so back to Sean, the one thing he was blessed with besides all that talent and ability was he just had some kind of magic to draw the best people in the business around him. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to say me, but me. Okay. All right. Somebody who, by the time I met Sean Paul, 73, 83, 93, almost 30 years experience in the reggae music business on the crossover side.
Yeah.
Jeremy Harding, as you know, is like an exception to the rule when it comes to managers in Jamaica. Okay. There are very few people who are on Jeremy's level when it comes to management in Jamaica. And also, he's an incredibly talented producer.
Yes.
And that's that's a wicked combination. Okay. And so Sean had probably the best A&R person he could have and the best manager he can have.
And that's how you make a mega dancehall superstar.
Right. So to your point, Ari, to your point, yes, part of it is the business. Okay. Part of it is the people handling your business for you as an artist. Okay. But in Sean's case, it's also the talent.
Yeah.
So here's what it is. And I also produced one of Sean's biggest records. I'm Still in Love with You with Sasha.
With Sasha, yes.
Okay. And I also A&R'd Sasha's career at BP and was responsible for the Tony Kelly hit, That Sexy Body, which became a club anthem in America.
Yeah.
And then she followed that up with Sean with I'm Still in Love with You, which to this day is probably one of Sean's top 3 or 4 records. Okay.
Yeah.
And the record that always gets the forward in his concerts because all the girls sing it along.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically from 1999, so there was the Beenie Man Fiasco at Virgin, where they took a great dancehall artist and put him off in the wrong direction.
Expound on that, please.
What's that?
Expound on that, please.
You said fiasco.
Well, like I did before, where they took a great
to make him pop
artist and tried to turn him into a hip hop and R&B artist.
Yes.
They had the Neptunes produce 4 or 5 songs for him. Okay, they had Janet Jackson to do an R&B song.
Yeah.
Okay, they didn't even include Jeremy Harding, who made Zim Zimma produce a single song on his album.
Wow.
The guy who produced his biggest record that got him the deal on Virgin didn't even have a single song on the album.
Wow.
So is that shutting the door at dancehall's face?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the mistake that they made with Beenie Man. Otherwise, Beenie Man, had Jeremy and I handled it, could have been big. Okay?
I wanted to fast forward now to your recent comments.
Okay.
Right? Because this is what really caused the stir over there. When you said in the comment section of an Instagram post, I believe, at first, dancehall and unity are oxymorons. It will never happen. Secondly, if it were to happen, the Afrobeats artists are better songwriters, better singers, better artists than anything coming out of Jamaica. And by better, I mean more commercial on an international crossover level. Also, the Afrobeats music industry is well funded and well run, and the major labels see where it makes money. Now, a lot of people saw your comments, Maury, and said you are the white man trying to divide and conquer black people and black music by pitting dancehall against Afrobeats. I'm giving you the platform now to further explain or expound on these comments.
And thank you, and I appreciate that. It's okay. First of all, it's not what artists are better. Okay, it's what artists are better at making music that is reaching an audience outside of Africa or outside of Jamaica. Okay, and I stand by every word I said. First of all, let me clarify one thing. Okay, I said dance hall, not reggae.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's dance hall that has really crossed over to the, back in Sean Paul's days or back in Shaba's days. Is dance hall that was crossing over, not really reggae. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm talking about dance hall. So for some artists out there who got vexed over what I said, and I think we know, I'm not talking about reggae. I'm talking about dance hall.
Well, you did mention some reggae acts in saying that, Protege and Lila Ike are flops. Are they flops?
Well,
and were just dropped
because they were signed to a major label.
Yeah.
Okay, not because they were reggae versus dancehall. Okay. Because they just got dropped from a major label. Although I may stand corrected. From what I understand is that Lila Ike wasn't dropped. Okay. Only Protege was dropped. Okay. And I think RCA is still committed to putting out Lila's album. what that really means, we'll see. Okay. But
something tell me that they're on one show somewhere. Something tells me that. I don't know.
Right. We probably see the writing on the wall because, they're a team, or they came in together.
Yeah.
Signed together.
Yeah.
Okay. But here, let me expound on something.
Yes.
Because I think you said something along the lines of, on the show the other day that you called out all these great reggae and dancehall artists to say I was disrespecting them. And I'm not. Okay, these are my heroes, as I just explained.
Yeah.
Okay, all the artists you mentioned in that list of artists you called out on the show the other day. Here's what happened. From 1999 to 2010, dancehall was on fire in America. Okay, led by Sean Paul, but there were tons of other records that were on the radio. Whenever you walked into a club, a hip hop club in America, as lit as the party was, when they threw on the dancehall set, the party was on fire.
Yeah.
Okay. As good a party it was, dancehall sets made it better.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was everywhere you went in America. Okay. And that was a vibe. Now, in 2000, all right, reggaeton started to kind of raise its hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Reggaeton existed from the early 1990s, but it wasn't called reggaeton. You know what it was called?
Dembo.
Well, yes, but that was the rhythm or the beat.
Yeah.
Okay. It was called Reggae Espanol.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Spanish, right? Yeah.
And right around the end of the 1990s, the reggaeton phrase came around. And it was getting bigger and bigger, but only in the Spanish market, Spanish-speaking market.
Yeah.
Around 1999, 2000, just as Sean's rocket was taking off, on the reggaeton side, it got its first superstar, Daddy Yankee.
Yeah.
Okay. But from 2000, as big as Daddy Yankee was getting, from 2000 to about 2010, dancehall ruled on radio. The third world music you heard on urban radio in America was dancehall.
Yeah.
That was the flavor that urban radio wanted. That was the Caribbean spice that urban radio wanted. Now, around 2009, 2010, a few things happened where dancehall started to make a turn, a very sharp turn, driving itself off the cliff. Okay. Couple of things happened. The production and the beats changed. Okay.
This is when you said?
About 2010.
Okay.
2010. 2010. Okay. That's when trap dancehall started to raise its hand.
Let me ask you this. What were the indicators to say that it was falling off a cliff? What were the indicators that you could see, or the signifiers?
When you threw dancehall on in the party, you didn't hear anything new. You just heard the classics.
Okay. After 2010.
Right. You know.
You were still in the parties them time there, Murray?
What's that?
You were still in the parties?
You better sit down. I still am.
You still get lit. You still get lit in the parties.
It's for work.
Right now, maybe not every night the way I used to.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'll show you pictures of like last week. Okay.
You look like a wild and crazy guy.
Maury, you look like you buy the bottles for tax purposes. You write it off for tax purposes.
You look like you used to be a wild and crazy guy.
Run up my expense account. That's it.
But yeah, you said that the production changed to trap dancehall.
The trap dancehall started.
Yeah.
Now, let me put it this way. From 1985 to 2010. Dancehall music brought the party vibe to the party.
Yeah.
Okay. It was party music. It was uplifting. It was fun.
Good vibe.
It was funny. Okay. You know, it made you smile. It made you dance. I could sit by the bar with my Heineken all night long and watch Jamaican women just like dancing. Okay? All right? And you sit there and you watch them dance. We all know that twerking was invented in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't called twerking.
No, whining.
Okay? It was whining. It was rubber-dub. It was butterfly. It was this. But it was all twerking. Okay? And you can just sit there all night and go, oh, okay, I'm good. I'm here. You know. And around 2010, starting around 2006 and 2007, but by 2010, it reached a fever pitch. And that is starting with Elephant Man. And I love Elephant Man's music. I love his records. I respect what he did. But the effect on dancehall changed things forever. Okay. And what I mean is Elephant Man brought that whole dance vibe.
Yes.
Like every week there was a new Elephant Man dance.
Yeah.
On the river, you know. Did I lose you?
No.
No.
Okay. All right. Pond the River, Parachute, Work With Me. Give me some of the other ones for a second.
Signal the plane. Signal the plane. Chop
More, you know them. You didn't know the club I do them.
Yeah, but you know, I'm getting old and my memory's fading.
Yeah. Chaplin.
Right, so
where did
all
dance
those
on?
dances changed dancehall forever. And what I mean by that is I just was talking about how I could just sit there at the bar all night and watch Jamaican women dance. Okay. But with these dances, it went from the focus being on the woman to the focus being on crews of guys dancing.
Oh, okay.
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 You know, where it became almost like b-boy dancing culture.
Okay.
Okay. And it kind of started to push women off the dance floor.
Oh, okay.
Along with trap dance hall, which wasn't very danceable to begin with.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. So these things started to all kind of like perfect storm. Okay. So suddenly the focus of the dance hall, the dance floor was no longer women. It was crews of guys. Suddenly all these great dance hall rhythms that were variations, and I don't mean dembowel specifically, but had that bounce to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
But some would argue, and you basically alluded to that he did great things, and some would argue that, you know, this brought about like even
Unity.
with unity and happy and fun times.
This is one thing I know about black music in America. Okay. Is that when it stops becoming dance music, they move on to something else. Okay. Back in the 30s and 40s, big band jazz was dance music.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Like-
what black people, everybody danced to. Benny Goodman,
Yeah.
you know, Duke Ellington,
Yeah.
Louis Jordan. That was dance music.
Can swing to and.
All right. It's swing. Okay. In the 1950s, jazz became bebop. And people started to go, you can't dance to this. You can sit there and nod your head to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is deep. Yeah, this is really deep shit.
Yeah.
You know, that's a wicked solo, but nobody's dancing to it.
Yeah.
That's when R&B was born.
Yeah.
To fill the void, to give black people music to dance to again.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think what happened in 2010 between trap dancehall, also what happened in 2010, and I think this was the real daggering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, maybe there were women on the dance floor being daggered. Okay. But it wasn't the same thing. Okay.
It wasn't.
Wait.
It wasn't Marley.
Wait.
Okay.
Hey, more, I'm gonna need you to say that again. So, where's that more?
Okay. Yeah. You know what do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, we were just there as objects.
You were a prop.
Yes.
You were a prop.
Yeah.
Okay. You weren't the center of attention.
No.
You were the prop for the guy.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's not the same as being the center of attention.
No.
Okay. And all those things started to spiral out of control. And so even though I know you saying, well, it's more about the business, okay? No, it's about the vibe of the music. And then the lyrics changed.
Yeah.
Okay. Then everything became about chopping and scamming and guns.
Yeah.
And listen, I work with one of the baddest motherfuckers ever in reggae music, Cuddy Ranks. Okay. You don't get any tougher and badder than him.
Okay.
Okay. And he was saying about killing the competition. You know, he's got the scar on his face.
Yeah, I see.
You know, he made songs about guns, the chopper, gun lyrics. He made gun lyrics. All right. He made a song called Gun Lyrics. But you know the difference? You could dance to those records.
It's like Shmoney with what name again? Bobby Shmurda.
Yeah.
And then about a week ago, in my top boy, I kill people, but you literally do the Shmoney dance. And I when I hot boys, dance to it. Yeah, vibe to it. So when you really listen to it and I say him kill boy something that a week ago and him get your body over there and you're not really pre the lyrics, but you just a pre the vibe.
You're hearing the lyrics. And you know what they're saying.
Yeah.
But there's just magic dust on top of that record that makes you dance. That Cuddy could do. That Ninja Man could do. That Super Cat. Because, those are the three bad men from that era, right? Cuddy Ranks, Super Cat, Ninja Man.
Yeah.
Those are the three. Shabba wasn't a bad man. Buju wasn't a bad man. Those were the three bad men. Okay, and they could sing about the most violent or allude to that gun stuff, but you would limb by limb. I want to cut you down.
Yes,
the party record.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So hold on. Now I want to ask this now because some people hit back at what you're saying, point towards the recent signings that we've heard. Skilly Bang signed, Shensia signed. Jada signed and not anymore.
Teflon.
Other recent signings, King I think signed as well. And point towards, the current music is working. Just give it a chance. Just give it some time. To that, what would you say? Because to some people, there's evidence pointing towards the current music scene in the dancehall thriving little by little.
Okay. I would say Skillabang's already been dropped, right?
He has been?
And Wop Wop was not a hit record. It had a little bit of radio play. See, what happens is...
You could have fooled me. You could have fooled everybody in Jamaica. Everybody thought that song was a bona fide hit.
You know what? While I was sitting around waiting for you guys to call me today, okay, I actually got very productive and went online and did a lot of research. Okay, and I'm gonna hit you with that in a minute, but let me set up the research.
All right.
Okay. All right. There's a history in Jamaica that when Jamaicans hear Hot 97 in New York plays a record, they think is gone. All right. We're done. Okay. Biggest record in the world, and it's this weird misconception. It is great when Hot 97 plays your record.
Yes.
Mind you. And most most dance hall records get their start at Hot 97.
Yes.
But specifically about Wop Wop, that record didn't even kill it at Hot 97. They played it for a few weeks and it flopped. Okay? They played it. Now, but let's go to the records today that are actually getting played.
Okay.
For the last 10 years, I've been saying all this style of dancehall, trap dancehall, chopper, gun lyrics, scamming lyrics, misogynist lyrics, are going nowhere. And they weren't. None of these records were on the radio for 10 years. Reggae was done. What was on the radio that replaced reggae, and let me just back for 1 second. So 2010, reggae took this turn for the worse in my book.
You mean dancehall?
Dance hall, right? Took a turn for the worse. Okay, and who was there to pick up the slack? Reggaeton.
Yeah.
Okay, you want the party? You go into a club. I don't speak Spanish. I took 3 years of high school Spanish. I forgot it all. Okay, but I hear a reggaeton record and I'm dancing and I'm smiling and I'm feeling good.
And you don't understand not a word that's being said.
Right. Because it's the vibe.
It's the
vibe. And do you think 90% of Americans that were listening, even to Sean Paul, there are videos on YouTube today or on Instagram where Sean is listening to Americans sing along to Temperature?
Yes.
And they're making up their lyrics as they go along.
Yeah.
It's just some kind of, made up American thinking they're singing.
Yeah.
And Sean's sitting there looking at it and kind of like smiling and laughing.
I saw, yeah.
Laughing with them, not at them.
No, yeah.
And Americans don't understand 90% of what Jamaicans sing, even on the biggest dancehall records by Beenie Man and Zim Zimmer and Sean Paul Get Busy. They understand maybe the chorus, maybe the hook. They definitely don't understand the verses. So it's not necessarily about the lyrics. It's the vibe you're giving people.
Yeah.
Okay. And we all know what the vibe of dancehall has been for the last 10 years. Okay.
But some would say this is the new vibe. That's the old vibe.
Yes. What I'm saying is somewhere around 2010, and don't take it literally, that was the 1 year where it all happened, but somewhere around that time, dancehall created a new vibe for itself. A new generation of young Jamaican kids took over. You know why?
Hip hop was their main influence.
Well, they all wanted to be young hip-hop artists.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be dancehall artists like the dancehall artists that came before them.
Yeah.
They wanted to be hip-hop artists.
Yeah.
And they were making fake-ass hip-hop beats. And they were making fake-ass, what all the young rappers were like Extentacion and Lil Pump and this one and that one, like kind of depressing lyrics and personal lyrics and, and it just lost the vibe that American kids, and I'm not going to talk about England or the rest, let's just talk about the crossover market being America.
Yeah.
Okay? That American kids wanted to hear from dancehall music. And when they weren't getting that party vibe, they looked elsewhere, and there was reggaeton waiting in the wings to say, we'll take over from here. And they did. And they crushed it. Okay.
What do you so let's talk about Afrobeats now. Where do they fit in, and where did they, come into play? It seems as a sort of substitute, say like reggaeton did to dancehall, in your view.
I think maybe there was just room for another kind of party music. All right, and I just think if you bring the party to the party will find you. And reggae and Afro beats brought that vibe. It's got great, listen, here's the vibe of party music. You got to have a beat you can dance to. You got to have a melody you can sing along, even if it's in Spanish or Nigerian, okay? You got to have a melody that you can sing along to. You got to have a vibe that is just the magic of the music that comes across, that makes you feel good. That makes you feel like you're having a good time at a party. And Afrobeat does all of that. The current crop of dancehall records for the last 10 years, by and large, does not do that. So I'm not pissing on dancehall before 2010, but I'm saying...
You just a piss on the dancehall after 2010.
2010. Exactly. Exactly. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Okay?
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Can we use that as a video title?
Pissing on the dancehall.
Murray Elias pisses on dancehall post 2010.
Before we go too far down this road, okay, let me clarify. I love dancehall.
Yes.
I want dancehall to come back.
Me too, Murray.
Okay. Everything I say is meant to be constructive criticism. Okay. People may not hear it that way.
No.
Okay. But all I want is to hear dancehall make me feel the way old dancehall used to make
So,
me.
Mark, tell me this now. I want you
What?
to explain to me from your vantage point the phenomena of these current crop of dancehall artists being signed and then being dropped.
Okay.
What's there? Because clearly the labels out there see something.
Okay.
They see something, they sign them, and then they quote unquote flop. What's
I
happening
got
there?
the answer already for you.
Okay.
You just tossed me a softball.
All right.
Okay. All right. Because what's different now versus what was different then back in the day? When I signed Sean Paul, I listened to his records. Now, maybe I'm a little unique in that I actually understand the culture and the music and the history, and I could understand what Sean's saying. All right. But I could also understand how it fits in to like a bigger market, the international crossover market. What's different now and what didn't exist maybe 4 or 5 years ago, when these, now that these artists are all getting signed over the last 3 or 4 years, data from Jamaica. Okay. 5, 6 years ago, there was no Spotify in Jamaica. 5, 6 years ago, Jamaicans weren't really that focused on YouTube, making YouTube as their, their medium of choice to consume music.
Their new radio, if you will.
Right, and the new radio for Jamaica.
Shout out Killer. Yeah.
Okay. iTunes. You've seen a lot of headlines from our friends at World Music View, my friends at World Music View, about Massacre has broken Bob Marley's record as having the most consecutive weeks at the top of iTunes reggae chart.
Yes.
Okay. If this was in 2006 or 7, I would say, wow, that's a pretty damn good accomplishment. But who the hell is downloading music in 2024? Nobody.
Nobody.
Nobody. Do you know anybody?
I mean, I stream it.
That's not downloading it.
Yeah.
iTunes reggae chart is about downloading music. Here's my 99 cents. Now I own this song on my phone or on my computer. Okay. It's not about streaming. It is about downloading. And nobody downloads anymore. So to dominate the iTunes reggae chart, all Island Records has to do, or all Massacre has to do, here's $1,000. Give it to 10. Give $100 to each one of your 10 friends, and tell them to download your song, 100 times. Okay, and all you need to dominate the top of the reggae chart of downloads is probably 100 downloads, because nobody downloads anymore. Okay, so, but here you have these record executives at the major labels suddenly having access to data coming from Jamaica. Okay, for the first time ever.
Yeah.
When I started, I could go into a record store in Brooklyn and say, hey, to a reggae record store in Brooklyn, and say, hey, what's selling? And they would tell me, these are my top 10 selling, 12 inches or 45s. Okay. But that's not the same as having real data. Okay. So these and listen, major labels, not just reggae, all major labels, nobody's listening to music at major labels. Here is how artists get signed. I just don't mean reggae artists. I mean hip-hop artists.
Okay.
I mean pop artists. I mean all kinds of music artists. A&R people study data. That's what they do. Hey, look, there's a record in Chicago that is streaming, 100,000 streams a week, but only in Chicago. Find out that record and let's sign it.
Wow.
So you're saying A&Rs don't even listen to the music; they're just watching data.
Data.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. They listen to the music after they find it on data.
Yeah.
Okay. They find the data first, then the music comes next. Okay. Now put that into reggae hands. Okay. You have A&R people at all major labels who who don't know shit about reggae, don't know shit about Jamaica, don't know shit about dancehall culture, but they suddenly have access to data in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
And on any given week, some record like Wop Wop, okay, or Drift, or whatever is going to be like at the top of the data heap. And an A&R person is going to go, I know what's hot in Jamaica this week. Let's sign it because look how many streams it's getting.
Yeah.
Look how many YouTube views it's getting.
Mm-hmm.
Look how many whatever is getting.
TikTok impressions.
And they sign it. And now they have a record. Now listen, if I'm an A&R person and I'm working at Def Jam or Island or Atlantic or Warner Brothers, and I discover a hip hop record that's blowing up in St. Louis or Chicago with like 150,000 streams or 1 million streams, and I sign it, it's hip hop. I understand it. It's my culture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not me personally, but if you're
in America,
right. But you're some kind of a Black American that kind of likes dance hall. They know a little bit about dance hall.
Them know Beenie Man. Them know Sean Paul.
Well, they know Sean Paul. You
Yeah.
know, and now all of a sudden they look at the Jamaican data pool. Okay, and they see, oh wow, here's this Skillabang record that's really it's the hottest thing in Jamaica, or here's this Massacre album that is like the most streamed album out of Jamaica this month or this year. Let's sign it, and then they listen to it, and it's back to the problem that Beenie Man or Shaba or all these artists had back, then. They're in the hands of people who are not Jeremy and myself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who don't understand the music, don't understand the culture, don't even understand the song they just signed. Because if I ever somebody came to me and said, here's Wop Wop, and I'm not trying to pick on Skillabang, okay? But I think this is a perfect example of a song that Jamaicans think was huge, that was insignificant, okay, in the crossover market, okay? Was so small, it had a run at Hot 97 and it was done. Okay. All right. And if I were at a label and somebody, let's say one of my coworkers said, hey, Murray, I guess, was searching the data in Jamaica and I found this record called Wop Wop. It's got the most streams right now for the last 2 weeks in Jamaica on Spotify. It's got a couple of downloads and its video on YouTube is got a million views. And we also know what's going on in Jamaica when it comes to views on YouTube.
We know that. Yeah, we know.
We all know that that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
What the hell is a million? You buy your first million views.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. You know that, right?
Yeah, we do.
Everyone's buying their first million views are bought.
Pretty much.
Okay. And your second million views are probably 10,000 of your fans watching your video 100 times.
Yeah.
It's not a million people watching your video. You know what I mean? That's the illusion that people have, even if it's an honest million. It's not a million people watching your video once, right? It's 50,000 people watching your video 20 times, right? How many times do you watch your favorite videos?
Enough.
Right?
Yeah.
So 1 million views isn't 1 million. When I used to buy CDs, I don't know if you guys are old enough to have bought any CDs.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
We are.
But
we're not that young.
Or when I buy albums, when you sell 1 million copies, 1 million people bought one copy each.
Yes.
Okay. When you have 1 million streams, it's not 1 million people streaming your song one time each.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's 100,000 people streaming your song 10 times each.
Yeah.
Because that's the way we consume streaming music.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're in, here's an A&R person. They come to me and say, hey, Murray, this song, Wop Wop is streamed this many times, YouTube video this many times. It's gotten this many downloads on iTunes. This is the hottest shit in Jamaica right now. We should sign it. And they play it from me. And I go, this record's going to go nowhere.
You know that.
Right. Just from listening to it.
Yeah.
What's the song about? Wop Wop.
It's a vibe.
People.
It's a vibe.
People dance to it.
Yeah, it's a vibe, man.
It's a vibe, but ultimately, the song itself is about shooting people.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's not going to go anywhere.
So some people would argue songs in America, rap songs about shooting people, go places. Even songs that don't make you dance. And argue, say, hey, it works for the rappers. Why can't it work for Jamaicans and for dancehall songs?
Because these are American rappers preaching to an American audience. These are our own people. Why do I need to go to Jamaica to have somebody talk to me about guns? I have my own people could talk to me about guns and violence and stealing and whatever it is. I don't want to go to Jamaica looking for guns. I want to go to Jamaica for the party.
Yeah.
That's why reggaeton blew up.
One more thing I want to ask you.
What?
Why aren't there more people like you and Jeremy in these rooms? Is it that you're being shut out, or there just isn't enough of you?
I don't know the answer to that. I have a lot of answers. I don't know the answer to that. I just think, in my case, I fell in love with reggae music 50 years ago. A lot of my contemporaries from 1973 who loved Bob Marley and Burning Spear and Toots in 1985 checked out.
Yeah.
Okay. They were reggae people. They were not dancehall people. They looked at the dancehall like the devil's music.
Wow.
Okay. I'm talking about the white kids.
Wow.
Okay. Like my contemporaries, my peers.
Yeah.
They were like, nah, this isn't the same as Bob Marley. I'm good.
Yeah.
I want to hear Ziggy Marley now. I want to hear Stephen Marley. They stayed on that train. I was crazy enough to say, no, I get this dancehall stuff. This is great. I love this as much as I love Bob Marley. Okay. And I stayed on the train. Okay. So I could say I love Bob Marley, and I love Yellow Man, and I love Sean Paul, and I love Beenie Man. And I guess in 2010, I became my friends from 1985 who said, I don't like dancehall anymore.
Even now, you officially become the old man on the porch.
Right.
When your ears start turn white.
Dancehall lawn.
When your ears start turn white, Murray.
2010.
2010.
Nah, I think it was my 10 years at VP.
I said, Jaja.
No, you have to come tell me what go on with you at VP. A second time you mentioned VP, and you'll never go back. You have to come tell me what go on.
When him fall to it in person. But one thing, or one person I want to really talk about, because I think this is a curious case, is Ashensia. She doesn't necessarily sing about the guns but what are your thoughts on why she is widely perceived right now as a flop in regards to an international career?
That in my post, right? Everyone's saying that.
That's pretty much the sentiment right now.
People.
Yeah.
What's that?
No, that's pretty much the sentiment right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I think the moment she got the deal, she started pissing on Jamaica. She started pissing on dancehall. Okay, she turned her back. She turned her back on Russian, the guy who got her there. And let me just say this right now. I don't have a beef with Russian. Okay, even though it was Russian, the post about Russian that that made me comment.
Yeah.
Okay, I respect Russian as a producer. I think he's one of the few good producers out there. Okay. I respect his music. I respect what he's accomplished in reggaeton. Okay. I respect that he was able to get Shensia to a major label. Okay. So what I disagreed with was his comment. I agreed with him about his comment that Afrobeat is kicking dancehall's ass, right? Because that's what he said, right? How can you overtake Afrobeat if Usain Bolt is ahead of you in a race, you overtake him, right? You only overtake somebody who's ahead of you in the race.
Yeah.
Okay. So when he said, we need unity in dancehall, and we get unity in dancehall, we will overtake Afrobeat.
Yeah.
It was Russian saying Afrobeat is ahead of reggae music, dancehall music. Not, I was agreeing with him, but he made the statement first. Okay. And what I was saying is the concept of unity in the dance hall is bullshit. Because the whole concept of dance hall is based on beefing, clashing, this and the very next day, Russian was in the same WMV saying how he and Idonia have beef.
Really?
Right? The very next day.
And then there's beef between him and Kyle, and then we have beef with TJ and Valiant.
Right, so here he is preaching unity, and the next 2 days he's talking about beefs he has with everybody, And again, that's his business. I'm just saying the concept of unity in the dance hall is a joke.
Yeah.
Because even when there are no hits, the only thing that keeps dancehall going, the gasoline that keeps dancehall going, is clashing and hype and and conflict and beef. That's like when there's no record to talk about. You talk right. Does Stefflon Don have a record?
Not currently.
Right. Does
Jada
have a record?
She put out singles, but
But I mean a hit.
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
Everybody has records. You have a hit record.
No.
So what do? To bring attention to you, you clash.
Do you like clashing as a part of our culture? Sean is vehemently against it, so I'm wondering.
I'm not against it.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it. I think what sets me apart from all the other people who try to do reggae A&R is I don't get caught up in the clashing and the culture. I focus on the music.
Mm-hmm. So if you were an A&R for, I guess, let's say Jada, and she end up in the clash with Stefflon Don, I mean, your focus would be like, okay, if you want to do it, but let's try and get a hit record simultaneously.
Shut up and give me a hit record.
Okay.
You can clash all you want as long as you're handing me hit records.
Okay.
But if you're confusing your clash and all the hype you're receiving as something that I at a major label could turn into whatever, unless you're giving me a hit record, you're nothing.
So when Drake do a back-to-back and kind of make like his back-to-back, the song Drake did back-to-back against Meek Mill, kind of was like a hit. But it was a diss song towards Meek. So it's like something like that. Could that work for you where you could turn a diss track and make it into a hit and give you as a hit record? That could work?
A diss track in Jamaica, a clash track in Jamaica could be a hit in Jamaica. Okay. Listen, for most of the 90s, Bounty Killer was making, him and Beenie Man were going back and forth. Beenie Man's hit records weren't the Clash records.
No.
With Bounty Killer.
Internationally.
They were Romy. They were whatever.
Sim
they
Simmer.
were Girl Them Sugar or whatever. Okay. So Clash records are local.
Okay.
Now, if you're an international superstar like Drake and a big rapper like Meek Mill, yes, you're on a different level. So when you make a Clash record, more people are paying attention because you're on that level. Okay, but you also have real hit records that aren't Clash records. They both have hit records that aren't clashing.
True.
So for me, all I'm saying is what set me apart for how I focus my job is I was a DJ for 15, 16 years. Okay. In clubs. I was a DJ on the radio for about 5, 6 years before that. All right. I listened to the music. I appreciate the culture. I love it. There's something that's almost professional wrestling about it. Where it's just showbiz.
Yes.
It's just theater. Okay. So I appreciate it, but I don't get it confused with making music that has commercial value beyond Jamaica. Okay. And that's why I was able to hear Sean Paul's records as being something special the moment I heard them. I was working actually at a distributor when I heard Sean Paul.
Okay.
I was between label jobs. It was before I started at VP and after I finished Priority. I started a reggae division at a vinyl only distributor in 1996, 7, 8. Okay. We were a vinyl only company and we were distributing vinyl around the world. And they brought me in to set up a vinyl reggae department. And I was ordering vinyl from VP and everywhere else. And I don't know, how old are you guys?
We're in our 30s.
In the 30s. So you were like probably less than 10 years old in 98, right? 97.
Yeah.
Okay. If you were around in Jamaica around that time, 12 inches were no longer a thing anymore in Jamaica.
Yeah.
7 inches were running, the 7-inch vinyl was running in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
And I was selling 12-inch vinyl around the Jamaican 12-inch vinyl around the world.
Wow.
And I was getting record companies and labels and producers who stopped pressing up 12 inches to start pressing up 12 inches exclusively for me, because hip hop DJs didn't want to fuck with 7 inches. They wanted 12 inches. You can't scratch, you can't cut, you can't mix 7 inches the way you can mix a 12 inch.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, if you want this music to cross over to hip hop, start pressing up 12 inches again. And within the first year, I developed a $500,000 vinyl 12-inch reggae business at this company.
Wow.
By actually convincing VP Records, like, hey, I need this in 12-inch. Press it up exclusively for me, no returns.
Yeah.
No returns. Whatever. I'll order 1,000 copies, no returns. Okay? And some of the newer titles, when I started to get, like, let's say, hey, this is a hot Beenie Man on this rhythm, and there's another one, and here's another, oh, and who's this guy, Sean Paul? I never heard of him. Oh, wow, this is really cool. I really like this. And then another rhythm comes in. Here's another Sean Paul. Wow, I really like this. This guy is something special. You know, he's not big in Jamaica, but there's something special. And that's how I discovered Sean Paul, selling vinyl. Okay. And when I would sell vinyl to the stores around the world, and they would say, well, let me have 10 Beenie Mans on that. Let me have the 5 Vegases on that rhythm. Let me have 3 Sizzlers on that rhythm. And I go,
Sizzlers.
Listen to me. Do yourself a favor. Take 3 Sean Pauls. Who's Sean Paul? Don't worry. Trust me. You trust me? You know who I am? Am I going to sell you anything? Take 3 Sean Pauls. Then a month later, 3 weeks later, they come back to do a reorder. They go, all right, let me take another 10 Beenie Mans. Let me take another 5 Vegases. And you know what? You were right about the Sean Paul. Let me take 5 Sean Pauls. Let me take 10 Sean Pauls. And I began to see that happen over. I would push these Sean Paul songs on them, and they would kind of take it out based on my reputation, you know, with them. And then they would come back and say, you were right. Let me double my order.
Wow.
You know, and that got VP's attention, not the Sean Paul, but the vinyl business I was doing with them. And I knew the Chins from 1978 when they first opened their store here in New York. I was like one of their first customers.
Wow.
I've known the Chin family from day one. So it's not like they didn't know me, and we've done business over the years. But that's when they called me and said, hey, you know, you just ordered like, you know, $250,000 worth of vinyl from us this year, you know, that we were basically deading. We deaded this department, and you just turned it into a $250,000 business. Come work for us. And I said, the only way I would work for you, okay, I wasn't that. Let me rephrase that. Not the only way. I said, if you want me to come work for you, it has to be with this condition. I want to work with Sean Paul.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And they looked at me, and they said, like, I could see the look in their eye, like, are you crazy? You know, I said, you know, yeah, Sean Paul, but, you know, we got Beenie Man, we got Bounty Killer, we got Vegas, we got Lexus, we got War 21, we got Capleton, we got Sizzler, I could go Red Rat, we got Goofy. I could go through the list of artists that were in front of the bus in front of Sean Paul. Sean Paul was in the back of the bus. So they were looking at me like, why do you want to work with Sean Paul? And I went, because he's going to be the star. And they looked at me like, you've lost your mind.
And you were right.
And I said, you want me to work here? I want to be Sean Paul's A&R. Like, it's not negotiable.
Wow.
You know, I said, because this is the future of reggae music, of dancehall music. And again, they were still looking at me like, yeah, but we got these artists that are huge in Jamaica, and Sean Paul was a nobody in Jamaica. And I said, that doesn't make a difference. and all the shit that Jamaicans talked about Sean Paul.
Even now.
Right. So now, you're right. Still to this fucking day.
Yeah.
Okay. He's an uptown boy. He's good looking. He's light skinned.
Bro, yeah.
I saw us positive. They saw us as negatives. I said, no, these are positives. This is what, and when I met him for the first time, true story, he was doing a gig in a club in New York City and, in a small club. And I went to see him to introduce myself because I was at VP at that point. And we had made the agreement that I would be his A&R. And I probably show up and he looks at me and I'm an older guy, not as old as I was 25 years ago, but, I'm still older than he was. And I'm a white guy. And he's probably going, oh, no, I got this kind of old white guy as my A&R guy, And I introduce myself and we're talking and I say, all right, you want to go out to dinner tomorrow night? And I've been dealing with Jamaican artists for how many years at this point? And I was, we're going to go to Auntie So-and-so's in Brooklyn for Jamaican food, right? We're going to go back to the hood for Jamaican food. And I go, all right. So I'm half expecting, all right, where do you want to go? We're going to Brooklyn to what's your favorite Jamaican spot? He goes, no, I want sushi.
Nice.
This is 1999. Okay. And I go, okay, this is different. Okay. This is different. Okay. This is good. It's different, but it's good.
Yes.
Because it's showing me, here's somebody who thinks a little bit differently.
Him already know Jamaican food. Let's go out for sushi. The world is there. And that is key to, that's such a perfect story.
Then I say, all right, I need to bring you back to New York on another trip so we could get down to business. I'm going to fly you in 2 weeks. And VP was always put all of their reggae artists at the JFK Hilton, right next to the airport, because it was next to Jamaica Queens and it was next to Brooklyn, where all the Jamaicans live. So my auntie lives in Brooklyn and all my friends live in Jamaica Queens. I want to be next to my brethren, blah 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 blah. So they all want to stay there. It's good. So I said, all right, so I'll put you up in the JFK Hilton. No, I don't want to stay at the JFK Hilton. I want to stay in Manhattan. I went,
Uptown.
okay. Well, it's like, all of a sudden I could see a mind that's working different.
Yeah.
Okay. That's somebody who has okay, I eat sushi. You have some kind of international scope about it. Okay. You want to stay in Manhattan, not Queens.
Yeah.
You don't want to stay in the hood. You want to stay where the action is. Okay. And I began to realize, that this was something different, that he was somebody special. And some people would have gone, oh, well, he's turning his back on why does he want to stay where all the Jamaican restaurants? And I said, no, this is going to be key to why I'm listening to his music and I hear something special about the music. I hear something magical where he's he's walking the tightrope between authentic Jamaican
but global,
and just enough American to be understood.
I think he has maintained that to this day. He lives here, and yet he's still international.
Right. And he's loyal as fuck to reggae music.
Yes. And defends it on any platform.
He defends
and waves the flag
everywhere.
Very highly and proudly wherever he goes.
People attack it, he defends it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't get the love back from the people he's defending.
That's true.
True.
Which speaks to who he is. Back to your original question is like Afro beats filled the void, reggaeton filled the void, but now we have a couple of records and artists that are getting signed, right? Skilly Bang, Shinsia, we'll talk, whatever. Drift, Byron Miss Taliban. Okay. Shinsia is probably not working, like I said, because she turned her back on Jamaica. Okay. She turned her back on dancehall. She turned her back on the guy who brought her to
Russia.
Dance.
What about the music?
The music, what was that record, Work? Was that it? That first video where, everyone's eating pussy? Can I say that on?
A lick.
Yeah, with Megan Thee Stallion. Yeah.
Lick, right. It was It was a weak, watered down, obvious ripoff of the Cardi B record.
WAP, yeah.
You know, WAP. You know, who needed it? We have WAP. Okay. And she's doing all these kind of, you know,
shock.
She just didn't make the hit records. They spent a lot of money on her because everywhere you turned, there she was at red carpets.
Yeah.
You know, on she did that commercial with Khaled.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, she was everywhere you turned. So the machine was behind her, but she wasn't delivering the records. Probably because, again, to Russians' defense, you know, when they cut Russian loose, who was there to make the hit records? Who was there to say, no, we got to make reggae records. We got to make dancehall records. Sometimes I just say reggae instead of dancehall, but you know what
yeah.
You know, who's making the dancehall records? Well, no, we don't want to start making R&B records. We want to make dancehall records, you know? And I think, you know, nobody was there. I mean, all respect to Ramesh, but, you know, he's not the music guy.
He's a business guy.
Right. Exactly.
He's about the money. So if him thinks that pop is going to make the money do pop, but not truly understanding is that people want to hear dancehall from her. That is what got her the looking in the first place. So don't change you and turn your back from what got you in the looking in the first place.
I know she's there stateside, and it's almost like she has become, you know, interchangeable. Like she has fit in so much that it's almost like she's interchangeable with what's going on, and she has no unique, distinct properties about her.
What people love about dancehall, what people love about reggaeton, what people love about Afro beats is this flavor.
Yes,
it's a flavor that you don't get being an American.
Yeah.
Okay, and it stands out. It makes you stand out. Okay, you know, because nobody else could do what you're doing as a reggaeton artist. Nobody else could do what you're doing as a dancehall artist. Nobody else could do what you're doing as an Afro beats artist. So why try and do what everybody else is doing in America when what brought you to the ball to begin with is who you are and what you represent and the uniqueness of your culture and of your language and of your musical style that is uniquely Jamaican, Nigerian, Puerto Rican.
Well, Mr. Murray, we said we'd be talking for about 30 minutes. It's been over.
Tell me how bad.
We appreciate every minute of it.
Yes.
We appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to kind of let people who know who don't know that I have history in this music, that I actually have love for this music, and everything that I said was to help get this music back on track again. So it's not sitting in third place behind reggaeton and Afro beats anymore. It's back in first place again.
Yeah.
You know? So I appreciate the opportunity.
And just know that we are aligned, Murray. Like everything you've said is what we've been saying and championing for a very long time.
And you want to know something? I'll close with this. As much as a beating as I took online from, you know, people, the way I saw it is that so many people who I haven't spoken to in 10 years, 15 years. I don't want to call anybody's name because I don't want to drag them into this controversy, you know, because they reached out to me in private, okay? But so many people who I respect, you know, my godfathers in this business, you know, people, foundation people who, you know, I just haven't spoken to in a long time. People who I didn't even think, you know, gave a rat's ass about me, you know, reached out to me to say, you know what, here's a comment I got a lot of privately. You're brave. A lot of people.
Yeah, trust me, we get that a lot too.
Right.
We get that a lot.
And I go, brave, does that mean it's maybe more like stupid?
Yeah.
You know?
It's a fine line.
Oh, no.
It's a fine line.
You said what everybody is saying privately.
No, it's a fine line that truth tellers have to walk. And people who aren't afraid to offend have to walk. I feel like you walk that habitually. Like you flirt with that bitch.
People, for better or worse, I wasn't born with the filter.
Same here. More, we thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And we have to link. Whenever, if you brave up and fall to Jamaica, we need to link up.
Yes.
Let's go to a party.
Absolutely. If I come to Jamaica, I will be with Jeremy, and Jeremy will make sure we all get together and
Nice.
have a meal and some drinks.
Yes.
We gon' party.
Exactly. Although we have to find a party that actually is like a party in Jamaica. Yeah.
All right. Before you go bashing parties here now. All right.
Let me know when you're gonna run this, okay?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
All right, bless up.
Peace. Have a good night, guys.
Peace.
You too.
Be warm.
I'll try. All right. Thank you again. Bye-bye.